Hello, everyone. Welcome to a short podcast introducing the AICPA Code of Professional Conduct and the principles that underlie it and how it ties back to the idea of the virtue of trust and the ability to trust the financial information investors receive. So this is the online version, and this is how you might find it in the link in the textbook. So we're looking at the Code of Professional Conduct, the table of contents, and we're going to make this bigger or expand it with a plus, and we're going to go to the preface and see what the principles are that are behind this Code of Professional Conduct. That's what we want to spend time looking at briefly. We don't want to get into the rules. We want to look at the principles. So we click the preamble, and we see that this is the responsibility is a big issue to the public, to clients, and to colleagues. So we first of all, as a profession, see a responsibility to the public, clients, and colleagues to provide the kind of information that they need. So it's not just to our clients. Notice it's to the public. That's what makes accounting a profession. So some principles. To do that, we have responsibilities. This reiterates who we have responsibility in our providing of professional services. If you hover over these, you'll get more definitions as you go through it. So this outlines that we are providing information for the orderly functioning of commerce, meaning investors are deciding how to invest their money to find the best return. And if they cannot find that information, if they cannot rely on our objectivity and integrity, then they will choose either to not invest, hide their money, or they will see it as too risky to do so. So they are relying on us to do this correctly in order to make things work and to know where to invest their hard-earned money. So to do that, we have integrity. So integrity, if you notice, that's a virtue. That is a who are we supposed to be? We talked about conflict of interest. We are honest, although we have to maintain confidentiality. We must test all decisions, think through the process. We cannot just do it. And then notice the questions. This sounds very much like the virtue idea that we talked about in the textbook. Am I doing what a person of integrity would do? So can people think of us as honest? So as we go on to the other principles, objectivity. We need to be objective. That means that we are not swayed by other people. We use our own judgment. That means we have to have a certain amount of expertise. We need to be independent, especially if we're doing an audit, meaning even though we're being paid by the client, we need to remember that we have to remain independent. We cannot be influenced so that we make a judgment that is against what is really there because we're being paid or because we're being influenced by the client. And we may not, if we work for a company, we may not be truly independent, but we can still be objective, which means we still have to utilize independent judgment over what we should do. It should be saying, we should talk about what is right, not what is necessarily what the boss wants us to do. So those are principles of virtue, and you can look at these in more detail. Do care means we got to do our job and do it well. We do our professional. We are careful. We are we're a careful individual. We make sure that we're diligent. We check everything we're supposed to check. We understand the rules of FASB so that we can apply them. We do all that with the diligence that is expected. So again, it's the question of what kind of person, what kind of information are we providing. Okay, that's pretty much the principles that I think are important and how this illustrates how the virtue approach applies to accounting and the communication of financial information. So there's not a lot about the other approaches, the ethical approaches. It is primarily based and rooted in the idea of, can we be trusted? Are we a person of an accountant of integrity? And that is the principles that govern and have been adopted by the accounting profession.